So that's gonna be it for the solo viable tier. Let's go to the super viable tier. Lowest one's Diddy Kong. Obviously, Tweak has been doing work with this character. Diddy has been really, really up in the meta recently in terms of people playing him. I do think that people still have a lack of understanding of really how to play against Diddy Kong because no one had to worry about it until 5 months ago. I think overall Diddy Kong is just really strong. He has really good defensive play, good damage, hard to mess with recovery, but if you do mess with it, he dies, unfortunately. He's consistent. He just consistently gets, like, you have Z-drop out of shield, good normals. The only problem with Diddy is if you keep Banana away from him, he becomes a mediocre close quarter combat character, because, like, his down tilt's good, but it's not, like, crazy. I definitely think he's more anti-meta than meta, because he still loses to, like, random characters or struggles with random characters, but he does beat characters like Zero Suit and Pyra Mythra and Palu and stuff like that. So, like, he's definitely a good pick. I don't think any of his losses are, like, terribly bad. I think Pac-Man is probably his worst, and then I don't know how Tweak brought T to Game 5. That was ridiculous. I do think he struggles a bit more matchups than people think he does, but I do think Diddy, he's just consistent. He's really, really good. He has a good disadvantage because he has Monkey Flip that refreshes when he gets hit. He has Banana. He has, like, really crazy reversals, and, like, a lot of the characters he loses the worst to, except for, like, Pac-Man, aren't relevant. Like, who cares about Villager or Isabelle? Like, oh. But either way, you can just play better than them. Like, you don't need Banana in some matchups. Like, Diddy can just beat people. Next up is gonna be Terry. I think that Terry is really good. Watching Riddles is incredible. Obviously, fighting characters are all up and down, because if they get characters like Samus or like Min Min, they can struggle. But also, not even Min Min, because fucking Riddles beat the Buzz, like, got bodied by Icy Mist. Like, I think Terry has some bad matchups. But again, Go. But again, his comeback factor is outside of Go. He does so much damage, he'll really early, he's fast, he's pretty fast. He can have platform movements, he has platform extensions, he has good grabs, has a decent projectile, he has good ledge trapping, he has, like, scary, really early kills without Go, with, like, down air on stage into, like, Nair side B off stage. He has consistent damage, he has so much good everything, right? Like this character doesn't really struggle with anything except for hardcore projectile zoning. I think the character struggles with characters like Steve and Snake and Samus and maybe R.O.B, probably Game & Watch, and maybe a couple characters below them, but, like, overall, Terry's a very good character. I think Riddles has great success with this character, and now that Riddles is basically solo maining Terry again, maybe, like, Terry and, like, the Belmonts for the other zoners, like, I think this character's really, really, really good. Next up is Sonic. Sonic's annoying. He's really good. I think the ability for Sonic to show how the game is going to play from the character select screen is huge. He's huge in the mentality factor. He's huge in early kills with things like back air and forward smash. Does a lot of damage. His advantage is pretty good. Spring is really annoying to deal with for a lot of characters in terms of disadvantage. Homing attack is still good. Like, there are ways to deal with it if it hits your shield, but if they, like, charge it, it does so much shield damage. It's really annoying to deal with. Good recovery. Has basically everything you would want except for, like, really spammable hitboxes that aren't spin dash, basically. So yeah, I think Sonic's really good. I ignored it for a long time. I think Sonic's too good. I still think he loses a couple matchups, and, like, some matchups are, like, really hard in my opinion, like Samus. Steve probably does well. I think, well, I would say Snake does well, but Sonic's has been destroying. Sonic destroyed MVD as far as I'm aware in Vegas. I still think Pika wins. Young Link probably wins. Zero Suit might win. Like, there's a couple of characters the character loses to. But at the same time, it's like, cool, I'm losing until I get a stock lead, and then I'm gonna run away for 2.5 minutes, you know what I'm saying? So, I think Sonic's really good. Continuing on, I think the next character is Sephiroth. Sephiroth, honestly, he's still questionable. He might be more down here than up here. I think Sephiroth is incredible. Obviously, One Wing is super good. The comeback factor is great. He has pretty decent combos. Landing Nair is still a good tool. Forward air, back air, up B, like, they're all very good moves. Side B is a good move. I just think Sephiroth you have to be really precise with, like, surprisingly precise with, in order to be good. He's hard to play in tournament. He struggles with some rushdown, he struggles with some zoners, but he can do it against anyone is the thing. So he's definitely either solo viable, like the top of solo viable, or super viable. I'm not exactly sure which one, but I think he's still a really strong character. I think that he has a lot of what you want in a character. He's fast, he has a decent projectile, he has good edge trapping, has forward air and back air and stuff. Like, Ned's probably the strongest Sephiroth player, and he's honestly been having really hard brackets. I think he can do it. I definitely think Sephiroth can do it. It's just, again, you have to have the super top player playing the character, which is hard to do. Next up is Sora. right next to each other. I think Sora's really, really good. He has room to go up, of course. I think, if anything, he has room to go up unless they nerf him for some reason. But I think Sora is ridiculous. I think this character is really hard to add a shield. His aerials are all really good. He has consistent damage. He has consistent killing, good kill throw, good edge guarding, hard to edge guard for the large majority of the cast, even though like some characters can, if you just like understand how to deal with side B. You can kind of be annoying with him in a lot of aspects. It's really hard to hit him in disadvantage because of the threat of down air, and then he has things like thunder and fire. Like his projectiles are all really, well, thunder's okay, but fire and ice are both really good, and he's just really, he's hard to deal with. Of course, then he has a sword, so he can mid-range characters to hell, and then he has things like back air, forward smash, down smash, stuff like that. So I think he definitely does struggle with some characters, like Pika, like Min Min, like Ox maybe. I'm not sure. So like this is, it can be hard to deal with Sora, honestly. He's like perfectly floaty and perfectly like annoying and bounces on shield, and the nair loops are a thing. He does a ton of damage even without the nair loops. He has just like consistent damage. He just kind of constantly just does what he wants. And it works against a lot of characters. So I think he's absolutely super viable. I think Sora's a really good character. Next up is Olimar. I think in theory, Olimar isn't this good. I think Olimar has a lot of flaws, but in tournament, he's so fucking good. I think in tournament, in practice, Olimar is so good. He has great out of shield options. He has whistle. He's constantly annoying you. You have to constantly be like approaching him. His Pikmin are really annoying to deal with. The fact that they latch onto different areas and you have to do different moves to hit them off, and that can sometimes be like you have to turn around and then he runs up and hits you for it. I think the combination of Shuton, Buzz, and Myron, like they all play very different, and they're all very good. So I think overall, just Olimar's a scary character. Like double purple Olimar is one of the best characters in the game, and you kind of have to kill Pikmin in order to play the game, because otherwise you're just gonna have Pikmin on you all the time, and it's really annoying. He has a hard to deal with recovery. His up B can be really annoying. He has really good juggle situations. His advantage state's really good. His ledge trapping is really scary because of range of forward smash. So like this character has it all, except for sometimes he gets rushed down, and he also struggles to like land sometimes and also get off the ledge. Like edge trapping this character is what you need to do, but if he has purples, he just goes ledge hop purple, and you're like can't really do much because like ledge hop purple nair is like super hard to deal with. The fixing of the glitches with Olimar really helped too, like the fact that he can like pull Pikmin a little bit more easier. So yeah. Next up is gonna be Young Link. I think Young Link is definitely super viable. I think this character is really, really good, really fast, has good confirms, projectiles, good out of shield options. The weakest part about him is his recovery, but I think most people won't edgeguard him, unfortunately. Like I do, but most people won't. So like his biggest flaw is kind of not really exploited very hard. But like the character's positives are amazing. Nair is such a good move. Back air is such a good move. Arrow, boomerang, down tilt. That's ridiculous. Jab 2 is minus like 8 or something. Like this character is really, really scary and can do a lot of good work. Good killing too, and has forward throw and stuff to kill, which is crazy. Yeah, I think this character overall is very, very strong. Really no flaws. Like lack of range, so sometimes he loses to the other sword characters, but then he has projectiles to kind of bash his way in there, which is really, really good for him. Next up is Yoshi. I think Yoshi's good. I think Yoshi's really good. I think Miles has been doing a lot better in North America. I think Meme is still really good. He hasn't been able to travel to the States. I think Yoshidora has been doing absolutely fantastic in Japan. He's been doing so well and so consistent with Yoshi. I think this character, of course, frame 1 double jump, which is really good. Kills out the ass, back air, forward air. Like his only problem is sometimes he gets zoned out sometimes, like in mid-range, but at the same time, his air speed is high enough that you don't really have to worry about that for the most part. You can kind of just hit characters as Yoshi, like pretty consistently. His damage output's really good. He has a command grab in terms of egg. He's hard to edge guard. He's hard to combo. Whereas he can combo you, and then he has things like down air, which is just like an oops 30% or oops kill. His edge guarding is really good because you can go off stage and then double jump armors through someone's recovery and like nair them or back air them or something like that, which is just in general really good and hard to deal with. I think Yoshi is very, very strong, and I'm very happy that Yoshidora has actually been able to go defense recently, because he was one of the strongest online players in Smash 4 and at the beginning of Ultimate, and now he's going, and it's just like, yes, he's so good. Next up, weird pick, Lucina. And I always thought Lucina was a little bit overrated by people. I still think she's really good. She's clearly super viable. She has nothing wrong with her. Lucina has nothing wrong with her, and she has some cheese. She does a ton of damage. Her back air and her edge guarding is in general. It's really good spacing. She's hard to deal with. She's not slow. Her airspeed's kind of okay. She struggles to get out of disadvantage like in the air and like off ledge sometimes, and that's going to be her biggest flaw. But it's not as bad as many other characters in the game. So like it's a bad flaw relative to the top, the top characters, but it's still a good, like they're still good versions of them. The problem I feel like with Lucina is she doesn't really force people to approach, and she also isn't super good at holding a lead like some other characters, and she has nothing like really degenerate. She's just really solid. She's one of the best just solid characters in the game. Like, not a lot of flaws, but also not a lot of broken things like some of the other characters in the top tier. Speaking of broken things with top tiers, Samus. Samus is a super viable character. Yes, I thought this before Icy Mist beat me. Before Icy Mist's run in Smash Con, I put Samus in top tier in my last tier list. She's broken. Charge Shot is one of the single best moves in the game. It forces people to approach, it deals 30, it's a combo move, and it just forces the opponent to play a specific way. Her normals are all really good. She has a good down tilt, good up tilt, good forward tilt, good out of shield option in terms of up B, which is frame 4. She has good aerials in terms of nair, back air, up air, forward air. Like, they're all good. Like, down air's probably her worst one, but it's still like -7 on shield and it combos Charge Shot into back air. Charge Shot combos into literally everything. Her flaw is the fact that she's floaty and can be difficult to land on characters that have disjointed up airs, like Lucina, like Pyra, Mythra, stuff like that, because it's really hard for her to land. She doesn't have good hitboxes below her in like disadvantage. She doesn't have a good way to like, she doesn't have like fast fall air dodge. She's floaty. But like Bomb is still good. She has the best ledge trapping in the game. Like #1 ledge trapping in the game, no questions asked. Bomb is broken on the ledge, and it's really difficult for quite literally everyone to deal with. So yeah, I think that's amazing about her. She loses matchups, but again, she's so explosive because you have Charge Shot, grab back air. Like, she does damage out the ass. She suddenly just kills you. She's such a good character. Like, ridiculous. Next up, Zero Suit Samus. I think they're about next to each other. They're actually really close. I might put Samus above Zero Suit Samus realistically. Zero Suit's still a really good character. She's incredibly fast. She is one of the hardest characters to pin down in the game. Flip jump's amazing. She has great whiff punishing, and when she has momentum, this character is scary. However, there are a lot of characters that don't let her get the momentum, or that have the momentum against her the entire time. She really loses to a lot of characters. She loses to Roy and Crom, Pika, Pokemon Trainer, Fox, Joker, just so many characters, so many characters this character loses to. The fact that the moves are inconsistent sometimes, like forward air, up smash, up B, isn't fun, and missing those type of things can cost you a game, which sucks. But she's still really fast. I think, again, if Zero Suit commits to timing out her opponent, she's an incredible character, like maybe still top 10, but that's unrealistic because none of the Zero Suits camp that hard, so it's hard for me to say that. But I do think that overall Zero Suit is still a really good character. Hashtag Z says sucks though. Like, she's still really good. I mean, that's, 20-ish, but like top 20 is good, but again, it's better than it's worse, way worse than the top 5 that she was, Speaking of characters that suck, the big boy, R.O.B. I think R.O.B is really good. Of course, his advantage and his combos are ridiculous. He kills you. He's like one of the biggest cheater characters in Ultimate, for sure. Good ledge trapping, great downer, good edge guarding, good pressure, good neutral with down tilt and gyro and nair. But the problem is his disadvantage isn't super good. You can easily parry a lot of his landing aerials. If you're really just committing to like standing there and parrying it and just waiting and not being like, you'd have to not wavering that, which is difficult. But R.O.B, of course, really good character. Zachary plays the character. Plenty of R.O.Bs have been doing really well, like Zomba, Bill, and there's been like Grayson. But this character's just really good. Like, overall, very strong. There's a couple of good EU R.O.Bs as well, like Lucretio and like 8-Bit Man. Like, good character. Just has some flaws that mean they're not like broken, but like still clearly kind of broken. Oh yeah, and Waddy. I forgot about Waddy. It was like, I know I'm missing an obvious one. Next up, oh god, it's getting to the hard area where everyone's broken. I'm gonna put Shulk. I think this is a bit of a demotion from my other placement. This is like 17, something like that, whereas I normally put him at like 6. I think Shulk's really good. I think he has an incredible matchup spread. I just think, again, he's really hard to play consistently. Even though people like Kome are doing well, because he got like top 8 or top 4 at last Kaki TV. Like, he has results, clearly, but he's just really hard, and I feel like some other characters are more overwhelming and easier and have better results. Basically. But I think Shulk's an incredible character. I mean, combos don't work on him. He has a good recovery. He has really good edge guarding. He has really scary pressure. The problem is, of course, his frame data is just like slightly not good enough to compete with a lot of characters at the top level. You constantly have to be outplaying your opponent, which is possible. Again, these are all broken characters, but it's just difficult. It's just really difficult to consistently play super well as Shulk. And the only person doing it is Kome, which is impressive, and it's not a shot at him. It's just I think other characters are better. Speaking of characters that are better, this one's a theory pick because we haven't seen it yet. This is Steve. I think Steve's fucked up. I think Steve's really, really, really stupidly good. Absolutely ridiculous. I think he shuts down so many characters in this game just by building walls. I think his combos are ridiculous. He hits you and kills you. He edge guards you. Has so many setups. He has literally everything you need in a character. He's not super fast, and he does lose to certain rushdown characters and also characters with a lot of range, like Cloud and Sephiroth. But like Cloud, Sephiroth, and Aegis are his 3 worst matchups, maybe Pika. And then, but like even in those matchups, he can still hit you and kill you. He can edge guard you. He can set up things. He can 2-frame you with down tilt and down smash. He can do literally everything. Only negative to Steve is the fact that a top player isn't piloting them and maining them. That's literally it, because this character's f***ed up. Diddy is incredible. Yanni's really good. Honor's really good. You have AK Fires. You have D-Dog. You have so many Steve players in America that are doing really, really well. I don't know of any Europeans, but I think this character's like low-key top 10. It just hasn't happened yet for me to want to put them in top 10, essentially. They're terrifying. Really good burst options. Not a great disadvantage, but again, you have to be ready for down air. You have to be ready for minecart. You have to be ready for all those obvious things. But like at the same time, you can just like forward smash you, and he can just play normal. You don't need the 0 to deaths, but also you can't get the 0 to deaths, which is good. Like characters, crazy, insane.
So Steve actually got slightly nerfed where his up smash multi-hits don't have as much hit lag or hit stun, which basically just removes some versions of the repeater combo and the eventually discovered repeater infinite, where you could actually really frame perfectly, do an up smash that would break the block, and then you could basically make a block next to it and then keep only up smashing and not using the up tilt that is used in the repeater. Repeaters are still there, they're just a lot harder, but honestly this isn't that much of a nerf because, I mean, technically it is a nerf because the combo routes were going to optimize to a really scary place, but they didn't really get there yet, so I'm not really considering this a nerf, more like a nerf for the future. So this doesn't really change where Steve is. Steve, I think, is absolutely still a ridiculous character that in my opinion is honestly probably better after a few weeks since recording my tier list, but that's probably better than where he is anyway.
Next up, I'm gonna put Snake. I think Snake is a really good character, but again, he's one of the characters that's hard to play in tournament, and he does have a couple of unfortunate matchups. I think he struggles with Mega Man, Inkling, and Zero Suit, and Fox, and Joker, can struggle with Steve, and struggles with Game & Watch. And so like, even though he wins a lot of matchups, it's still really difficult. But I think that Snake is just overall a very, very strong character. Has a ton of traps, really fast camping, does a ton of damage, relies on people swinging into him a little bit, but at the same time with the Z-drop grenade stuff, and like he has really good ledge trapping, he just has so much good stuff, so it's hard to constantly play back. The characters that can are very good against him. I think Samus does really well, I think Ness does really well. As I mentioned, Zero Suit, I think Young Link beats him probably. So like, not like bad, like I don't think those matchups are unwinnable. Yeah, like Snake is just, it's really good, but I just think is really hard to play, and suddenly you can just kind of get hit and die. How many characters left? 14. Next up is Fox. I think Fox is broken. I've always thought Fox is broken. He basically forces guesses onto you, and if you guess wrong, you take 60 sometimes. The reason he's not higher is because he does have some pretty bad matchups. I think like Luigi's really bad. I think Pika is really bad. I think Game & Watch is really bad. And while those are doable a lot of the times, it's really difficult to play consistently with this character, even though Light does it. Constantly having to guess is good, because certain characters don't like guessing. Like characters like Diddy don't like guessing. Characters like Joker don't like guessing. Like Cloud don't like guessing. Pyra, Mythra don't like guessing. But when he's wrong, he can take a lot because his disadvantage isn't that good. Like, it's good. I think it's underrated. I think like Shine is a really good stall tactic. I think Side B is still better than people give it credit for. I think his recovery is easy to mess with sometimes, but not as easy as people pretend it is. But he still does die. Like, he just explodes sometimes. I think Fox is a really, really strong character. Obviously, Light won SmashCon and has top 8'd, like top 5'd Lich, and then got like 7th at main stage. So like, character's obviously really good. Fox players bitch a little bit too much, and by a little bit I mean a lot of bit too much, but still overall can struggle sometimes. Next up, I'll put Pokemon Trainer. I think Pokemon Trainer is a really good character. Obviously, the combination of Squirtle, Ivy, and Charizard, they can kind of carry each other's weaknesses through a tournament set. I think Ivysaur is the weakest the weakest of them. I think Charizard is one of the best comeback characters in the game. And Squirtle, of course, really difficult to hit, has good combos, good grabs, does a ton of damage, and has good out-of-shield options. All of them actually have good out-of-shield options, except Ivysaur. But Ivysaur is the best mid-range of them, probably. Actually, it's still Squirtle because he has dash, F-tilt, and stuff like that. Overall, Pokemon Trainer is incredible. Good recoveries. I don't think they lose a ton of matchups. I do think they lose several, like Young Link, Min, Pika, I think Joker, I think Pyra, Mythra, Like, there are definitely characters that beat Pokemon Trainer, but they're not like unwinnable by any stretch of the imagination, so you can still definitely win as Pokemon Trainer by themselves. Like, the reason Pokemon Trainer results dropped is because Tweak stopped playing the character and Leffen stopped playing the game. I think Pokemon Trainer is a very, very strong character. A little linear for what they want to do with each character, but I think overall the character is still very, very strong. At number 12, we're gonna have Roy. I know people suddenly think Roy is like top 5 or top 10. I think that is a bit high. Clearly, really good character. You can put him in top 10, I wouldn't argue. But I think Roy is slightly worse than people think he is, but obviously still incredible. Really consistent killing, jab back air, jab up air, side B, down tilt, back chases, forward tilt, random kill moves just everywhere. Good out of shield option in terms of up B, all that type of stuff. I do think that people need to focus more on the mid-range against Roy, and myself as well. I did lose to Kula, but that was for the first time I've lost to a Roy literally ever. I do think that Roy does struggle with a couple matchups. Like, I don't think his rushdown is as good as people think it is. I think he struggles with like Pika and Min, and honestly, I think probably loses to like Samus somehow. I feel like he just isn't as overwhelming as people think he is, but still incredibly overwhelming. It's not like the most overwhelming character in the game. Like, I think this character is really, really good. Clearly, like, super viable. But I think overall, he's just not as good as people think he is. Still broken. Still absolutely broken. Pola, Goblin, TK3, we've seen plenty of Roy players do well. There's more than that. But yeah, I think overall he's really good, just like not top 5 broken. The last character not in top 10 is a bit of a bump from my last tier list. That's gonna be Wario. I think Wario is overall incredibly strong. Talking to Gluto about the nerfs and about Wario in general made me really believe in this character again. Waft being nerfed isn't that big of a deal because it honestly makes some combos easier. The only reason he's not top 10 is because he still does have some really bad matchups, and unfortunately, Gluto ran into both of them at main stage in Palutena and Olimar. I don't think he loses as bad to a lot of the DLC as people think he does. I think he probably loses to Pyra Mythra, but like Steve is probably even, Min's probably even, but like the character's just good. You can beat up characters with Wario like really hard without Waft. He does so much damage, his mid-range is incredible, he's just fast enough, his fall speed is like perfect for him, he's hard to edge guard because his up B is amazing, up B is a good out of shield option as well. He just is really, really strong, and the only nerf that really mattered was the up tilt nerf, which obviously that was important, but he still has a good anti-air and up tilt, he still has tech chases, he still has bite, man grab, he has bike, which can be awkward to get around, he has like everything he needs except for a really, really thriving mid-range. But at the same time, he's one of those characters that's like, oh, my mid-range isn't super good, I might get walled out, get the hit, kill you. Which, like, that's terrifying, and that's such a good thing to have in Ultimate, where it's like, I got the hit, you dealt 60, or 70, plus advantage. Like, nair, upper, 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 nair, upper, upper, back air, nair, upper, upper, waft. Stuff like that really, really matters. Wario's broken. And I'm gonna make a tier that is called Top 10. For the top 10 characters. Obviously, this is just an extension of the super viable tier. I just wanted to make a tier just to show that they are the top 10 characters. And number 10, we have Min. I think Min's a little worse than I did before. She's really hard, but she's still broken. She invalidates so many characters. She is explosive. She can randomly kill you. She has good matchups with top tier. She had good matchups with basically everyone. I don't think she loses a ton of matchups like definitively, but the thing is you have to be playing really well in order to play as Min and against her, honestly, because if you're not, you're gonna get blown up. You're gonna jump too much and get hit. You're going to not jump and get dash attacked or dash grabbed into combo. Her disadvantage isn't super good. It's not terrible like people think it is. Same with her off stage. Like, certain characters can edge guard her pretty easily, but most can't unless you don't have your double jump. So it's very important that you keep your jump and just take the combo and stuff like that. I think Min's incredible. I think she could again be top 5 like I thought she was last patch. Like, that was just a me thing, like my perception of her changed, but also like I still want to see Proto fight all the US players. I think Proto is like fucking insane and clearly the best Min.
The Min nerfs are the biggest nerfs that we have seen, in my opinion, since the 3.1 patch where Pichu got nerfed, Olimar got nerfed, and Peach got nerfed. I think these nerfs are incredibly influential. The arms not doing as much shield damage means that a lot of the guaranteed shield poke and shield break setups that Min has or had no longer work. It means that you will have a lot more chances to get into her arms before worrying about getting shield poke because they do less damage. And I don't know if it affects shield stun to make things less plus or not. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't seen enough of Min since, but I'm assuming that's not the case, because if that's the case, that would be really, really bad. Of course, Dragon Laser is not nearly as active anymore, and it's a pretty big difference. I mean, you could sometimes catch people just like falling lazily off stage with Dragon Laser, and you would definitely get some kills that way. You still can get the combos and stuff that Dragon Laser ends up working with, but it's not it's just not as good. Those two nerfs matter, but not nearly as much as the Nair nerf, which now has 3 frames of landing lag across all arms, Ram, Dragon, and Megawatt. That's a really, really big deal. Not only are they less safe on shield, Megawatt now -8, Dragon now -9, Ram now -10, which are pretty universally punishable by most characters if it's not super well spaced. But also, it means your combos are going to be a lot more tight. You still can get combos with landing Dragon Nair and landing Ram Nair and stuff like that, but they're way more difficult, and you have to basically be frame perfect and landing immediately after you use the move, as opposed to having some leeway. I think that Min can't really always do perfect landing Nairs, because that is when it becomes very easily parryable, which was already happening at top level play, and now the fact that you don't have an option to mix it up, because either it's going to be incredibly unsafe or not actually net you anything, is huge. I think it is such an influential nerf. She's still going to body the characters that she bodies, but I feel like a lot of the even matchups that Min could cheese out, or that she would out solid at some points, now turned into losings, and I think her losing matchups now got really bad. Like, I don't know how Min's supposed to run away from Sheik or Pikachu at all now. Like, it just doesn't work the same, even remotely, especially because Megawatt Nair is at safest -8, and specifically for Pikachu, -7 is the magic number, and nothing you have is safer than that. I really do think that Min is no longer in the super viable tier. I think she drops maybe 15 to 20 spots somewhere in the solo viable tier. I still think she's good, and I still think the matchups that she loses are not super common, although maybe she loses more to like Palu and Joker now and stuff like that, as opposed to having even or winning matchups. But I really just don't think that she's super viable anymore. I think she would probably be around the Cloud, Ike, Hero level of where that is in my tier list. I think these nerfs are really, really big. I could be wrong, I may be overstating them, but it seems like she has a lot more problems now, so yeah.
At number 9, we got Peach. I think Peach is still insane. Anyone that doesn't put Peach in top 10 is stupid. I do think she struggles with a couple of the new DLC characters, actually, like Min, Steve, Pyra, Mythra. I think they all do really well versus her. I don't know about Sephiroth. Wouldn't know about that matchup. Overall, Peach is still really good. She has really good defense. She has really good mid-range. She's just slow, so dedicated zoner characters can do really well versus her, like R.O.B, like Samus, like Min, like Steve. But she's broken. She does so much damage off of a hit. She has crazy combos. Peach players have done well since the quarantine. I mean, Ling getting 9th at Riptide, Mudace getting 9th at main stage. And like, it's just hard. She's really hard to beat because she has like good disadvantage in terms of float and down air and back air and side B. But she's still an incredible character, and ignoring her damage output and her walls and her edge trapping is really not fair. Next up's gonna be Mario. Mario's really good, obviously. Great combos, great neutral, great edge guarding. Flood is so good. Cape is underrated. Up or out of shield, up B out of shield. Like, T is tied for the best out of shield option in the game in terms of frame data with up B, which is big. So, like literally big. It is quite literally a big move. The up B being prevalent is really important. Of course, if you get the grab, you can kill people or do a ton of damage. This character does so much off of an interaction. Doesn't really struggle to kill because you have back throw and back air and up smash and 2 frames with dash attack and forward smash. Forward smash, of course, has the pullback. Like, it's so good. It's so good. Like, this character is ridiculous. The flaws of this character are sometimes you can get walled out, but again, it's one of those characters that's like, oh, you got walled out? Cool, but you got the hit at 30 and they died. It's hard to just be like, he is bad in these matchups. Like, no, he's not. Like, if Mario can beat Sephiroth, if Mario can beat Lucina and Sonic, then, like, he's fine in the mid-range. He might struggle with certain matchups like fucking Min, stuff like that, but still a really good character, really potent, and yeah, this character's ridiculous. Next up is gonna be Game & Watch. Alright, y'all pretending that this character's not broken? He's broken. He has the best upper in the game, the best nair in the game, the best up B in the game, the best down smash in the game, and probably the best up smash in the game. He has so many good moves. Chef is so invalidating of characters. Up air is so invalidating of characters. So is nair. But yeah, Game & Watch literally invalidates so many characters. He's so good. The only flaw of Game & Watch is sometimes his mid-range is bad. If you can constantly play at that mid-range and just make him guess whether he has to do early nair or late nair. And that can be really, really difficult for certain characters do. Most characters can't really do that. Certain characters can, like Pyra, Mythra, Roy, Palutena, R.O.B, Shulk, like the characters that do well versus Game & Watch. But at the same time, he's so explosive that like you get the one hit, even in those bad matchups, you get the one hit and you kill them. Next up, Palutena. Palutena is broken. I don't know why people think this character's suddenly bad because of her nerfs. She's really good. She controls the neutral. She controls the advantage state. Nair super good, back air super good. She has back air and dash attack that are invincible. She has consistent, good moves. She's not really that great at killing, but consistent 2-frames with down tilt and up smash. She basically just has an option for every single situation. Her disadvantage isn't that bad because she has teleport, whether it's ledge canceling or just high. She has auto reticle and explosive flame to force people to approach. She loses some matchups, like Pika. I think Pika is a terrible, terrible matchup, but like, that's about it, honestly. I don't know who else she loses to. I'm sure there are some, like Inkling and stuff like that. I think she also loses to Steve, honestly. But like, obviously her nerfs over the course of time have mattered. Like down throw bear nerf was like literally almost 2 years ago. But she's still so good. Nair up tilt being a thing is really important. I saw Louis Money doing Nair, or it was either Louis Money or Chag, I don't remember. It was like Nair drag down up tilt on tall characters. That's really, really cool. This character just has everything. Really good Nair, really good up air, really good back air. Arguably the best back air in the game, honestly. I think Pika's is better, but like it's arguable. Yeah, the character has like everything you want, basically, in a character. At 5th best, we have Pac-Man. Pac-Man's broken. Because listen, I started to think it a couple months ago. Then when Kokiri made a tier list, she put Pac-Man as top 3. It got me thinking, I'm like, huh. Pac-Man's really kind of broken, isn't he? He has like no flaws, except for the fact that he loses to like Cloud and like probably Pyra Mythra. Well, his character's so good. T has such consistent results. Have other Pac-Man as well, doing well. I know Didi's trying to play the character again. I know Sinji does well. But Pac-Man's absolutely broken. He has one of the best, if not the best, applicable recovery in the game. He does so much damage. He kills really early. He has a final smash for his forward smash. He just does literally whatever he wants. He camps. He like can invalidate characters because of camping. He can invalidate characters because of rush down. He has one of the best grabs in the game. He has constant grab combos. He'll throw. He has hydrant setups. He has literally everything. He has literally everything you could ever need. Bell in hand is broken. Galaga in hand is broken. He can't ledge trap him because he can just get those items and throw them. They go through the stage for some reason, or at least some of them do. Pac-Man's absolutely broken. His mid-range is good too because he has dash fair, or like, oh, you're playing mid-range? Cool, drop down hydrant. Bleep, 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 bleep. You know? 4th best, we have Wolf. Wolf is incredible. He has everything. He doesn't have a super good recovery, but he's a little bit more explosive than the other top tiers. Because he has things like Fair Bear Flash, Fair Bear for killing, F-Tilt. He's consistent neutral. Literally, the main issues with Wolf is his recovery, which is scary to deal with. His out of shield option isn't great from spaced moves, but if you don't space aerials onto his shield, he can footstool up you out of shield, which is really, really strong. He has a ton of damage. He has great throws, great throw combos, great combos in general. He constantly just is dealing 40 or 50% to you from like random stray hits, like random nairs, random fairs. His tech chasing is really good. The character's just really, really strong overall, in my opinion. Not really anything to say about this. He's broken. At number 3, we got Joker. Number 3 and number 2 swapped in my last tier list. I think Joker's incredible still, obviously. Really hard to hit, ton of damage, good throws, great neutral. The only problem with Joker is he doesn't really have any approaching hitboxes. Like, he constantly has to rely on people approaching into him, which is why he struggles with certain characters like Mega Man and mostly Mega Man. And of course he struggles with like Pika, Pichu, Sonic. So he does have some losing matchups. Obviously everyone in this game has losing matchups, so that's not really a surprise. But Joker is still an incredible character. Arsene is ridiculous. That comeback factor is so dumb. His gun is amazing. Side B is amazing. All of his aerials are really, really good. Yeah, the character is just incredible. Rebel's Guard is so good. Otherwise his disadvantage is pretty good even without Rebel's Guard because he has gun, like down gun. But yeah, character is really, really nuts. Absolutely ridiculous, actually. So dumb. So dumb. Leo doesn't play Joker as much anymore because he mostly plays Violet. The character's still ridiculous. Don't let anyone fool you. The character's fucked up. Now here's the decision. I'm just with you. It's number 2's Pyra Mythra. I still think Pika's the best. But Pyra Mythra is ridiculous. They have a great mid-range. They have great out-of-shield options. They constantly kill you. Mythra just wins neutral for free. It's difficult to deal with if you don't have like a really good out-of-shield option or footstool out-of-shield option. She's just too fast. She's literally too fast. She just makes you guess constantly. Her advantage is incredible. She can advantage even the best of characters at getting out of disadvantage because she's literally just so fast. Her air-to-airs are really good. Her combos are really good. Then you switch to Pyra in advantage, and Pyra is just like, can punish neutral air dodges, some of the best in the game with down air. She has down tilt, forward tilt, up air. Like every move that they both have is really good. She does lose several matchups in my opinion. I think she loses really bad Min. I think that matchup's like atrocious. Pika also wins pretty heavily. I think she loses a couple more that I can't think of off the top of my head. But she's still like one of those characters that's like, oh, I lose the matchup, but I win anyway. Pyra Mythra is ridiculous. I mean, piloted by such good players right now. Leo, when he was playing them, although he just sticks to pilot now, you have, of course, Spargo, who's god. You have Cosmos, who's really good. Good edge guarding. Obviously is susceptible to getting edge guarded. I still think people are mediocre at edge guarding Pyra Mythra, which is the only reason they're not number 1 right now. But yeah, they're just really good overall.
The nerfs to Pyra and Mythra, in my opinion, are a deal, but they're not a big deal. I think losing a couple of % killing on Mythra forward smash is a decently big deal because now down tilt 2-frame into forward smash won't kill as easily, basically. I think with Rage it's still really, really good, but just in general, just removing some of the dumbest cheese from this character is going to affect her just a little bit, or affect them just a little bit, I guess. With Mythra, now you're going to more so rely on Pyra for kills, although you can still just play amazing neutral and get an advantage win and eventually get a forward smash a little bit later than you would with Mythra, but not getting a certain kill is the difference between winning a game and not, and winning a set and not, so that could be influential. I mean, I don't think influential enough to drop her at worst to 3rd, like maybe she's slightly worse than Joker now, where I put her in the last tier list, but it's not that big of a deal. And then the Pyra side B was added 3 frames of end lag, which doesn't really matter if you hit, you can still combo into the footstool, it doesn't really matter on shield, but it does matter on whiff and on some of the recoveries because you can actually just like get to areas that are safe from it and punish a little bit easier, like you can run off and grab the ledge and punish, you know, the air dodge or side B or up B a little bit easier now, which can, again, that can be a pretty big deal, but you always have to be really, really aware of that type of stuff because 3 frames do matter, but they're not like as influential as landing like frames like in Minden or something. So I still think Pyra Mythra an incredible character. I just think these are small little fixes to not make her as egregious. So I think she's still easily top 3 at worst, maybe probably still 2nd in my opinion. But yeah, this character is still nuts and they're broken.
And of course, the number 1 character is my tier list. Of course, he's hard, don't get me wrong, but I think he has enough easy stuff. Air loops. I think upper bridges are not as difficult as people think they are. Like, I need to like learn how to play mid-range and bait with my movement more. I'm being way too obvious right now in what I want to do, but even then, some of his obvious stuff is just good. Like, I obviously do things against people like Cola, people like Light, and even people like Leo at some level. And it just works. Back air's broken, T-Jolt's broken, it's a free approach tool. He has one of the best recoveries, if not the best recovery in the game. He has a non-2-frameable angle, which is still really important that I'm trying to learn. He's a really good character. Pika's broken. Low profile, so it makes it really difficult to punish him, as most characters. He just has such a solid matchup spread, and if you just play patiently enough, like, all of his flaws kind of just go away. Because his flaw is his range, but if you play patient enough, and you have T-Jolt and down tilt and your movement and quick attack, then like, you're fine. Quick attack is a great with punishing tool. There's just like so many good things about Pikachu. He's the best in my opinion. I think he overall has the best matchup spread. I think overall he has the best stage pool. I think overall nothing's wrong with him. Literally, except the players playing. Fortunately, that's me. So.
Pikachu busted.